Hello, Terry. Pleasure to meet you. So we're here to talk about your new film, Sweeney Todd. So, since completing filming on Sweeney Todd, have you eaten a meat pie?
Uh, I've had a few Cornish pasties.
So it hasn't put you off then.
No, no. The shepherd's pie count? Yeah, shepherd's pie I've had. Uh,
Well, I won't go through your menu, what you've eaten over the past few months or so. But this new film of yours, Sweeney Todd, Slice and Dice. You star in it. You've produced it. I noted from the credits that you're a special effects supervisor. You're the post-production supervisor. You've done casting on it. What have you not done on the film, Terry? Because it must have been absolutely a grueling experience for you doing all of this.
um, yeah, I mean it's very much kind of nature of the beast, really, Simon, because it is a micro budget film, So on a micro budget film, everyone has to multitask really. Um, and yeah, that's the same for my position as well. I kind of have to, yeah, if I can do it, that means I haven't got to pay someone else to do it. So, um, and those things that you mentioned, I have done before, so I felt kind of comfortable within that. Yeah, but it's not, you don't get a lot of sleep for quite a few months, and
So,
uh,
as producer, was this problematic for you to get the finance together?
finance is always the tough one, you know. But we kind of managed to get some private investors involved in this because they liked the idea and the pitch of it. Um, so it come together slowly, and it is a micro budget. So you get to a certain stage when it's like, right, I think that's it, because you can wait forever otherwise, to make a film. So it's like, okay, what can we do? What can we achieve with this uh, budget? And then you kind of have to start scaling back on maybe some of the setups that you've got in the script, you know, reducing down the amount of days that you're shooting. We shot this in 12 days, which is pretty crazy, really.
What did you have to get rid of then to fit the budget?
Um, from a creative point of view, it's it's subplot really,
Right.
you know. Um, so you kind of, when you're restricted to today's filming, you really have to get coverage on what's important.
Hmm.
But then sometimes what you lose is some of the subplot or character development. You can't explore that as much as you'd like to. Um,
Uh-huh.
so that's always a bit of a victim of yeah, of a micro budget film.
So playing the lead, as well as producing, you playing the lead, Sweeney Todd in it as well. What's been the most difficult scene for you to have shot in the film?
Well, for me as an actor,
As an actor and even to accommodate as a producer.
yeah, I mean, from the producing side of things, um, the devil's in the prep, really, when you're putting something, a production together. So I just had really great crew and people I could trust. Um, so I'd kind of set everything up before we started rolling. And then it was just leaving it with those guys. The DOP knows what he needs to do.
Hmm.
The director knows what he needs to do. And you have kind of I have a right hand man, my best friend and business partner, Jason Ford. Um, and so I knew he'd have my back.
Yeah.
Um, so the producing side, once we was rolling, I had didn't have to think about it at all.
So you've done a lot of comedy in your past. I mean, like a lot of comedy. So is this a deliberate change of pace for you?
Um, yeah, it's a strange thing. I've been cast in a lot of comedy, which is it's quite odd because I think I don't know, I look that
I'm not going to say you got a face for comedy, Terry. Yeah.
Simon. Yeah, I've played a lot of comedy in the past. Um, no, yeah, I guess. Well, I wasn't going to play the role first of all.
Right.
I wasn't going to play it. I was just going to play because we see Sweeney Todd's dad in a flashback,
Yeah.
and I was going to play that part, you know. Um, and then Steve, the director, said to me, "Well, he was assuming that I was going to play it." And he was
Right.
like, "Oh, well, I thought you was going to play that," and I was Sweeney Todd, and I was like, "Well, no, not really. I was, not thinking of that. If we can get someone better and more well known than me, if we can
Yeah.
get that money, then let's go for that." But again, you're with the reality of micro budget films is that um, and how films are sold nowadays as well. Even if we did have a bit more money to pay someone who's more well known than me to play the part of Sweeney Todd,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make a big difference in terms of international sales. Obviously, unless you've got, Tom Hardy playing the part, then that's fantastic. But not many of us can afford to have him in our film. So um, there's not really that many actors in between that will make, if I put them in the role of Sweeney Todd and with the sales agent are selling it to a distributor in Germany, their
Yeah.
name doesn't particularly mean anything. Um,
So, looking at the credits, I noticed at the very end that the film was dedicated to the memory of Darren Kent. Can you tell me about him?
yeah, so Darren Kent passed away a couple of years ago. He was a very good friend of mine, Southend based actor and writer and producer. He made lots of short films. Um, but apart from all that creative stuff, just a very good mate. And yeah, we've always kind of worked together. He was in one of my other films I produced about 15 years ago. He was in that, a horror film called Community. And we're always looking for ways to work together. Um, and because film can be quite a isolating thing, Simon, you know. So you need kind of like-minded spirits to give you the motivation to keep going
Yeah.
sometimes, because sometimes you can feel like you're going through like a quagmire. Everything's so challenging to get a project up and moving. And Darren just used to, we always speak to each other about the project and he'd say, go for it and support me. And Darren was going to be in this film originally. But we had to recast that when he passed away, bless him.
So, the way that the film ends, it seems to suggest that this is set up for a sequel. Is that right?
Yeah, well spotted, Simon. Thank you very much for getting to the end of it. Yeah, it is. It's set up for a sequel because hey, why not? Should anyone want to find out more about these characters, then yeah, we've got a few ideas of how we can develop that for sure.
Can you give us a clue as to what direction that would go in?
Um, well, potentially, I'd kind of like to get a bit of I think it's got scope for a bit of a multiverse of Victorian characters because there was lots of stories from that era.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I think that would be really interesting to explore, because you've got Jack the Ripper from that time as well.
Yeah.
And there could be a way that you could, get those characters, Todd versus the Ripper. Could be
Yeah.
interesting.
Jason versus Freddy kind of setup.
Exactly, yeah, and you got lots around. Spring Hill Jack was an old Victorian um, story as well. And also you got kind of Sherlock Holmes creeping in around that time as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So, finally, then, to round things off, having appeared as Sweeney Todd, I'm just wondering, would you ever go to a barber now for a shave?
Well, as you can see, Simon.
Well, but I'm thinking more of this than
Oh, right.
that.
Yeah, I shaved my own hair, but yeah, I went. Funnily enough, before I made the film, I went to Turkey for a holiday, and I had a cutthroat shave.
You survived it then.
Yeah, really nice. It's a lovely, clean shave, a cutthroat. Yeah, I survived. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if you survive a sequel
Ah, yeah,
if
yeah.
you're up against the Ripper. But no, thanks for your time, Terry. It's very much appreciate you talking to us. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Simon. Thank you for watching the film as well. Thank you.